Hey everyone, and welcome back to the review. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the Week 14 playoff picture, NFL playoff picture, after Week 14 ended in the National Football League, the NFL. There are 4 weeks to go in the season here. There are 4 games for every single team now, as there's been the last 2 teams had byes, Arizona and Washington. So now every team is playing here, and not every team is fighting for a playoff spot. However, there are a few teams eliminated, but there's still a lot of teams fighting for playoff spots. And there are good contenders for playoff spots. There are 7 playoff spots in the AFC here. Baltimore Ravens are 10-3, first in the AFC North, with their win in overtime over the Rams. The Miami Dolphins, this is close 7-0 at halftime, and they actually had a lead over the Tennessee Titans. It was close. It was like 10 and a half, 10 in the third. That was 13-10 at the end of 3, because they missed the touchdown was called no good, an incomplete pass instead of a touchdown, and then it was a field goal on 4th down. So then Dolphins was able to tie it up, and then they converted on 2 touchdown drives, and ended up giving it away with like they had like about 5 minutes left, and they were up. It was like less than 5 actually. They were up 14, but then they gave a touchdown and they couldn't score. Couldn't get first down. Couldn't get enough first downs for Tennessee. And then Niners, touchdown. They just couldn't get in, field range. And they had the turnover, and then for lost them. 28-27, Miami Dolphins lose to Tennessee Titans. And the Tennessee Titans could have been down now at 4-9. They would have been 3-0. They would have been down and out. Not completely out. Oh, technically it could be out, but they would have pretty much been down and out in the standings. They would have had to win every game. Have some hope for the way. Now, they have a little bit of hope. No. You can't give them hope, because they're only 2 back now instead of being 3. Instead of being 3 back, they're 2 back now. In the AFC. And now the Chiefs, they had a stunner loss to the Bills. They had a stunner loss to the Packers. And they had a stunner loss to the Bills wasn't so stunning, but the Packers loss was pretty stunning loss. And then now the Chiefs, are usually been really dominant in the AFC. They've usually been really dominant in the AFC, so it's kind of interesting, to see how the Chiefs may have to play a playoff game, not in Kansas City, might have to play like their first round matchup. They'll play at home. It looks like, as well, but their second round matchup, if everything went right, they could play their. If Miami lost to the 7th seed, they the 7th seed, then they would play their second round. Then the Chiefs would play their second round game at home. Otherwise, the Chiefs are have to travel on the second round game. So we'll see, what happens. So the Chiefs are probably gonna have to travel, on the road afford to play the and usually a lot of AFC Championship games, they have been played in Kansas City. I believe they played when it was against Tom Brady, the Patriots, beat the Chiefs, in the AFC Championship. I believe it was in Kansas City. They played one in 2021 in Kansas City. Did they? I believe they might have. But the Bengals beat them, Remember is that 2021 they did it to a Super Bowl. Another 2020 year was they beat somebody in New England. Then they beat Kansas City, Then they won the championship, played in Kansas City. Played 1 year, might have been against the Bengals, but the Bengals upset them. But it was in Kansas City. And last year's was in Kansas City as well, so they won a couple Super Bowls. 2019 that was 2020, I guess. Super Bowl, but yeah, that was 2018 season. So I went to the Super Bowl, They went to the Super Bowl and Kansas City won it, I believe. So yeah, Kansas City's been right on it, but they gotta play right in the road, That's their loss to the Packers, and another loss against the Bills. They've been just struggling. The Chiefs have been struggling lately. We'll see here. I'm just kind of surprised. And they've had a couple of losses, a couple of big losses. One the Packers, one the Bills. The Bills, it's not so surprising, but man, they've lost a couple of surprisers though. They've had close games this year, They're 8-5, so they might be falling, the playoffs. The Jaguars, with Trevor Lawrence. They lost one without Trevor Lawrence in the Sunday, Thursday, and then they just against the Bengals. Okay, you had a chance to win it, but okay. But I mean, they still was good defense. They only lost by field. Okay, the backup and okay. You did your best. I mean, it was hard to get your rhythm in overtime. I understand that one. But it looked like you had some momentum going near midfield. You just had some momentum going towards midfield. So instead of momentum, you just lost it. You just couldn't get enough, yards. And so, and then just had one loss with the Joe Flacco, and that was the Browns. While they lost, Joe Flacco's getting his rhythm in well, So that's pretty shocking for the Jaguars. The Browns are 5 in the North, second in the North. You're only 2 behind the Ravens for first in the AFC North. And they don't have the AFC North. Do the Ravens and Browns play in the AFC North? Maybe they do. Ravens and Jaguars, that's going to be a huge Sunday night football matchup. Determine but the Browns won once. The Ravens won once, so both teams won once. So, but the Ravens have a really tough schedule. They played the Jaguars. They played the 49ers. They play, on Christmas Day, Monday Night Football. Then they played the Jaguars, Sunday Night Football. Then they played the Ravens. Then they played the Steelers. So they have a really tough schedule, Determine who wins for the North, So the AFC number 1 spot is definitely not locked up yet. Definitely not. And the Browns have a chance. What does the Browns schedule look like? The Browns probably have an easier schedule. Maybe not though. The Bears did. The Bears did beat Lions because the Lions made a couple of mistakes. Turnovers, so they took advantage of it. Texans without C.J. Stroud. They don't have C.J. Stroud because he's out with a concussion. So if he's not playing that game Christmas Eve, then the Browns have a chance, to win that. The Browns have a chance. But more of a shot, a good shot to, the easy. The Jets, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's, played better, progressed better, he's been playing better, on offense, so. So. We'll see, We'll see if Zach Wilson can last Thursday Night Football of the year. If the Browns, can play well against Zach Wilson, if Zach Wilson's playing. And then the Bengals, they play a game against, one of the right teams, the Bengals, which could be in a hunt for, which are still in the hunt for the playoffs, but, they're technically not, they're not in yet. But all four teams, it looked like Joe Burrow might be, the Burless Bengals might be able to play it. And they still might be, but you might not be in with 10 wins even. They may not, but if all four teams from the North win in there, that would be wow. And there have to be a North against North. There could possibly be three teams. Obviously, most 3 teams. Man, that would be if it was like the AFC North in the playoffs, that'd be pretty surprising, in the second round or in the championship match. Both AFC, that'd be shocking if both AFC North teams won, or, what I mean? The AFC North championship game, that'd be crazy, which it could be still, Steelers, but the Steelers are falling, though. The Steelers had a couple of losses, maybe to the Cardinals, which touched Kyler Murray. Okay, that's not super surprising, but without Joe, you know what I mean. But to lose to Patriots, wow. With Bailey Zapp, wow, that is very surprising. The Colts, they got lost big 20 points to the Bengals. They played them, and then they played the Bengals, and then they play a Seahawks team who's kind of struggling. The Seahawks are struggling, so as New Year's Eve, so the Seahawks have them better. Seahawks do play some tough teams. They play the Eagles. The Titans look better now. The Steelers, they're struggling. They're struggling. They might lose their way out of the playoffs, but I just don't see it. Steelers have a shot. So we'll see. They're a good team. I just either are they having a bit of a struggle. If they can prove, against the Colts, that they're good, on Saturday afternoon, the Saturday showcase, if they can prove that they can win, against the Colts, if they can prove it, then I like it. Their chances, if they can't really prove it and win, then I don't know, then maybe I'm also, and the Colts, have to win. Have to prove that they're in good contenders with the win. They look good, just is that an off week for them, or do they look good, It's a must win it's a big win for the game for the Colts too. The Steelers and Colts is a both must win for either both teams that need to win that game, Texans. How about CJ Stroud? I don't see the Texans making the playoffs without CJ Stroud. I don't know how long CJ Stroud's gonna be out with this concussion. But if he's out for like a few weeks, if he's out for 2 games, say, and the backup, who do they play, Is it good enough as a team where the backup could play? What time did the backup play? The backup, it could have been late in the game. Like 3rd quarter or 4th quarter, something like that. It could have been maybe 4th quarter, something like that. Because it was close in the 3rd, so maybe we'll see. But it could be 4th quarter, but so I don't know. The Texans, who do the Texans play? They play a Titans, which are a hungry team. They play the Browns, which look good. They play the Titans again. Then they play the Colts. All teams are hungry. The Browns are in the playoffs looking for a win. Because I don't know, it depends if CJ Stroud plays or not. The Broncos, they've been looking really solid, playing well. They played well against the Chargers, beat them. And they've been on like a really big hot streak. They lost one game and went to the Texans. But they had a nice streak going, against the Broncos did have lately. They've, won a bunch, Not in a row, all of them in a row. They lost one to Texas, but still they've looked really solid though. Going from like 1-5 to 7-6, looking really solid. Bengals like Joe Burrow. I'm still impressed by them, The AFC, 10 wins might not even make you in the playoffs, Like these top teams right here. I could see some of these teams, having 10 wins, and they're not even in the playoffs. Like, that's how good they are. Like, the only team I could see them, say maybe not, is the Chiefs, just because of their division. Otherwise, every other team, I mean, is probably obviously needs at least 10 wins, And 10 wins probably might even get you in the playoffs, That's how good AFC is. I could see every AFC playoff team having like 11, maybe the 7 seed having 10 wins, maybe, but still, you're gonna need at least 10. Maybe on the outside chance the 7 gets a 10. But majority of them probably gonna have 11 wins. It's gonna be. And then Bengals are looking really good without Joe Burrow. I'm interested to see how they keep playing. They play against the Vikings, which the Vikings, without Josh Jacobs, struggled against the Raiders. Really struggled in that game with Connell as their backup, and they struggled. And they had a chance for the win in the third quarter with a touchdown, but nope, the fumble. And then the Vikings, they traded punts away. Vikings missed the field goal in the second quarter. It was just, and then Nick Mullins was the only good spot in the game. So, but we'll see how the Vikings look with, it's gonna be different, Nick Mullins, playing against the back, so we'll see if the Bengals can win with Nick Mullins. And I mean, you didn't get much from Nick Mullins in that game. He just got that he was able to drive the ball down the field more and look more impressive, against the defenses of each team, which frankly played a lot of snaps, the offenses are out there a lot, but both the defenses are out there constantly, and so we'll see, the Bills, are still the Bills, you can't count them out, despite them being 7-6, and they're tied, they just have the worst tiebreaker. They lose all the tiebreakers, possible. So we'll see, They can. You can't count the Bills out. They're a good team. Chargers. I mean, I wouldn't count them out quite yet, technically, but because they played the Raiders on Thursday football on week 15, but they're not gonna do nothing impressive, They're not. I don't see them really going nowhere. They have to be even if they win them all, they're gonna be 9-8. And I just don't, I just don't see a team being 9-8, and making the playoffs in the AFC. I just don't, I see minimum 10, but I would say minimum 10. I wouldn't be shocked, if it became 11, So they're gonna be out. Same with the Raiders. Most, the teams in the AFC. There's so many teams. Plus, there's so many teams at 7-6. That they're all gonna fight for. They're all gonna fight. and then one team loses, there's gonna be some teams that lose, go 7-7, There's gonna be some teams be 8-6, and the teams that are 8-6, then 9-6, prove, are gonna be the ones that keep staying in that pack, and if they don't make any mistakes, you know what I mean? They don't make any mistakes, really. So they're locked in the playoffs, as a seed, that's good, for them, to make the playoffs. So the Chargers, Raiders, I don't see them making the playoffs no matter what. Same with the Jets. I just don't. Titans, I mean, they have life, but they have life, and that's kind of scary, but I just don't see them making the playoffs anyways, just because I think, they just lost so many games already, as it is, that there's going to be a team with, 10 wins, that beats them, it's just a matter of time before they officially end up becoming eliminated. It's just a matter of time. Now in the AFC, or NFC, because they said if the Packers won, or if the Packers lost, if the Packers lost to the New York Giants, which they did, 24-22 on a field goal, on a game-winning field goal when the time ran out, the 49ers would clinch the playoff spot, and they do, and they did, they clinched the playoff spot against, the Cowboys have the second seed, and the reason the Cowboys have the second seed is because they beat the Eagles, and they have more, and they have the tiebreaker, the conference record. Most likely, it's conference record or tiebreakers. Other tiebreakers if conference records tied. But I believe that Cowboys just have the better division record, or is it better division record? I think it might be better division record, as of now. The Eagles haven't played everyone in the division. The Eagles haven't played the Giants in their division. Oh, is that what it is? Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, the Giants just haven't played the Eagles. That's right. So it is division record because the Cowboys are 5-1, and the Eagles are 3-1 in the division. No, there's 4-1. Okay, they're 4-1. But yeah, the Eagles have a better division record. Or the Cowboys have a better division record because they beat the Eagles once. And they lost the Eagles once, but they're 4-1. They haven't played the Commanders once more. But the Cowboys still have better, tough games. They have the Bills, they have the Dolphins, they have the Cowboys, they have the Lions. But they got 3 good games, They, and then one against the Commanders, which is But 13-3, it's going to be pretty solid. 13-3, 12-4. We're in the last week of the year. I could see them definitely being easily being I could see them being, not easily being 13-3, but I could see them being 12-4, 13-3. I could see them being like 14-3 or 13-4. The Eagles have to play the Seahawks, the Giants, the Cardinals, the Giants, which are easy tests, which are easier games for them. So we'll see, how that works. We'll see who wins out of the, but I assume that Eagles should be able to come back. And the Cowboys, if they slip once, they're done, One of the 3 remaining games, they're done. Which I could see the Giants, which I could see the Cowboys slipping against, one of those 3 teams. I could definitely see it. But I could also see the, So we'll see here. In the NFC, the Lions, they're slipping a little bit against, they're slipping a little bit. I mean, they definitely are slipping a little bit. They're definitely slipping a little bit. They lost the Bears, almost lost the Bears the first time. They played them. And they've been slipping, ever since then. They almost lost. They had to come back late against to beat the Chargers. Almost lost to the Bears. They had to come back to beat in that one. They lost to the Packers. They almost lost to the Saints. Driving that 21-point first quarter. After having that 21-point first quarter, they just didn't look too impressive, And they lost to the Bears, but that was with turnovers. And the interceptions, they had 2 interceptions. So it's turnovers, though. So you have to play the Broncos on Saturday night. In this half-hour Saturday showcase, you have to play the Lions. So we'll see if the Lions, if they can beat the Broncos. The Lions can. They have to play the Vikings, which we'll see if Nick Mullins can look better against which I'm assuming he's going to be the starter against the Bengals. So if he can look good against the Bengals, and lead the Vikings to win, then we'll see if the Lions can. If the Vikings can beat the Lions, which they probably, which as I know it's too early to remember, but we'll see though. If the Lions do actually win that one, or the Vikings win, it could, we'll see though. If the Lions struggling, and the Vikings, they can't get on a little bit of a roll. That's it. The Vikings can win that one. They play the Cowboys. They play the Vikings. The Lions could actually lose North. As crazy as that sounds, the Lions could lose to North. Because the Vikings actually do have a not hard. They have to play the Bengals, they have to play the Lions twice, and they have to play the Packers, which the Packers went back down to reality. Jordan Love had an interception in that one, so they did go back down to reality. I said they probably would. The Packers probably would go back down to reality. Winning some games and then losing. I said it. Packers go back down to reality, and they do. The Buccaneers 6-7 in the South. They won their matchup against the Falcons. So they get the tiebreaker in the NFC South over the Falcons and the Saints at 6-7. Eagles just lost because of better conference record or better division record. That's all it is. But they have to have the same division record though. Eagles wouldn't have the tiebreaker and the same record and all this and that. If they have the same division record and the same overall record, the Eagles would actually have the tiebreaker. So we'll see. All the Eagles need to do, and the same with the Cowboys, is to clinch a playoff spot. Is they need to just win and they're in. The Cowboys and Eagles just need to both win on Sunday, and they're in. So, Vikings, however, they have a shot. After Nick Mullins, but he got his rhythm together, and was kind of in there cold, but had his was able to get his rhythm together, enough, and just did enough so they could kick a field goal and win the game, and that's what they did, so that was good, he showed some promise, so we'll see if he can lead. Vikings can lead them. McMullins and Vikings, offense can lead, against Bengals, but the Vikings might not have Justin Jefferson. He was in the hospital with a chest injury, and he is released from the hospital. Now he's coming home with the team. In the local the Vegas hospital. So that was nice, So he's So we'll see if Mullins can play with Jefferson. Is Jefferson a game time decision, and willing to play through it? Is Jefferson going to be enough to practice, and play, next week, or on Saturday, or next week Saturday, I guess. But or is he going to sit out any? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Obviously he probably wants to play, to win, because to win the games for his Vikings, make the playoffs. But we'll see, we'll see, the Packers, with NFC North, 6-7. Yeah, they went back down reality against the Giants. I told you when Love throws interceptions, they've lost games, They can games, they could win. They could beat the Steelers, but Love threw 2 interceptions. Could have won, but the kicker, could have still won this game. Even so, with the 1 interception, but Anders Carlson did miss a field goal, so I said there was going to be something that, and then it puts them down in reality, and that was it, and this was their game, but they had a chance to win. They had a couple of turnovers, as well, They had one where, muck punt. They had one where it touched the, barely touched the arm of the Giants player. And it got return on the special teamers, or was returner person, the punt returner, and, just got lucky, and then, fumble on the ground, They had a few of themselves, turnovers, but, so it was almost even, but they missed the kick, so they might have a shot, we'll see, if they, they looked okay. They had turnovers and miscues, so, but brought them down in reality. Like I said, it might, and it did, because they had one more turnover and the Giants did brought them down in reality. Told you to lose the turnovers, but that's what's gonna happen, and that's what happened, The Rams, they just have the tiebreaker over the Rams because they beat the Rams, so they have a tiebreaker over there. The Seahawks, they have the tiebreaker over the Seahawks. The Rams do. I'm surprised the Falcons, the Packers have the playoff spot because they did beat the Falcons. Did actually beat the Packers. However, the Rams and Seahawks, both have the tiebreaker over the Falcons. But the Saints and Falcons still have a shot to win the division, along with the Buccaneers. They're in NFC South along with the Buccaneers, in 6-7. So we'll see, who actually wins that division. The Buccaneers. I know they play the Packers next week, so that's gonna be a good game for playoff positioning and record seeding and all this and that. So, in the playoffs, that's next Sunday. So that's gonna be a big game. Who's gonna win? Falcons or is it gonna be Buccaneers? We'll see. We'll see. And then we have the Giants at 5-8. The Giants are at 5-8. They're close, I wouldn't say they're complete of it. There's a game back from being the playoff spot. Same with the Bears, The Bears are 5-8. They have a shot, if they can capitalize when they, if they can capitalize on turnovers, which it shows they can capitalize on turnovers, They just did against the Vikings, but they capitalize on it shows they can capitalize on turnovers when they're playing well, and they did capitalize on 2 line interceptions, so they can capitalize on turnovers, at times. And last week was one, where they really did, and they have a shot, to win the North, to not win the North, but they have a shot to make the NFC playoff picture with the win too. Technically, the Commanders are still in 4-9, but I shouldn't see the Commanders going nowhere. I don't see the Cardinals going nowhere to 3-10. 7-10 would be the best case scenario. I just think what's going to be with the Commanders is there's so many teams at 6-7. The Saints, the Falcons, the Seahawks, the Rams, the Packers, the Buccaneers. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 teams at 6 and 7. That there's so many teams crowded in that 6 and 7 race. That's going to be one of those games where it's like, going to be like, you know, it's gonna be one of those that I see the pack, you know, I see the Cardinals just running off time, you know, when they had Josh Dobbs and they, they played him, and they lost so much, with their starters, they've been playing their other playing backups. It's like, yeah, so now they're playing all better now, but we'll see, what happens, and we'll do the Cardinals win to make the playoffs now, just because I don't think they have enough time. The Commanders, I don't see them making the playoffs. I just don't. I mean, they still have a 2-game down, but at 8 and 9, there's gonna be someone that makes the playoffs. Probably Adam. 9 and 8. I wouldn't be surprised if someone makes the playoffs, because there's so many teams at 6 and 7. I mean, the loser of the NFC South winner could be at like 8 and 9 or something like that. I could see the NFC South winner being like 8 and 9 or something like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a team that does end up, even if a team does end up becoming 8 and 9. There's just 6 teams at 6 and 6 or 6 and 7 that win, and that there's gonna be some teams that win their 7 and 7, some that lose and fall to 6 and 8. There's going to be, obviously, so there's going to be. So Commanders, I just they have to win all 4 in a row to even have hope, and I don't see that happening. Cardinals, I see them running out of time in the playoffs. Running out of time. If they lose one more, they're out, and they have to win all 4 anyways to be in. And they have to hope some miracles happen. They're out. The Commanders are out. Even though they're not technically eliminated. Only 2 teams are technically eliminated were the Panthers when they fell 1-11. Against the Buccaneers. They lost their division. Couldn't even win the South. And the Patriots, they were eliminated. Not last week. Was it last week? No, it wasn't last. Maybe it was last week. 3 and 10. Yeah, it was probably last week, I believe. Or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever. They lost. Their chance, to make the playoffs, but and the Cardinals are going to be in the same with them. Same with the Commanders. So we'll see, There's just a bunch of teams, in the hunt for playoffs or spots. So we'll see, what happens, but it's going to be interesting, Going to be interesting.